Here's what really fascinates me when we look at buying behavior and buying data. Have you guys seen that Chet Holmes pyramid? Right? So what is that pyramid? And the pyramid basically shows us that at any given point in time, there's only 3%, maybe up to 10% of potential buyers that are interested in a solution that you have to sell. Right? We all know this. I know that. But what's amazing to me is that we in sales, in our broad B2B sales ecosystem, we seem to think that we can outmaneuver and bend reality and go against that science. So can you actually find more buyers in the market? Can you take that 10% of interest and convince them of 20 or convince 20 to 30% of them? I don't think you can. So what I think is interesting is that the entire pursuit of sales, which is cold calls, cold emails, even cold LinkedIn messages, is really just all about trying to get more and more people into talking to you without fully understanding that they are on a journey. And if you identify them at a specific point on their journey, then you can better self-serve them. What are your thoughts on that?
I look at it as my job is to accelerate conversations and basically segment buying intent. I am a believer that whether it's 3% or 10% of the market, that's all I'm going to get out of the market at any given period of time. What I can control is the velocity in which I can figure out who are those 3 to 10%. For me, I'm going to use relationships and compelling events to basically stack rank and segment where I focus my time. I'm not getting, I agree with you, I'm not getting more market than is Pareto's law kind of thing, exactly, or Chet Holmes' law. So since I'm playing within that total addressable market, I need to be able to move the chess pieces quicker to one side than my competition. That's it. I'm just trying to figure out who's interested now faster than other people.
I think it really also relates to the volume versus quality game. You're always going to have to work with people that need to be educated, that we need to help shift them off status quo. But we also have to be consultative in understanding that if they're not ready because there's too many other priorities going on, they're doing an org change, this leader's too fresh into the new role, whatever those reasons may be, we still have to respect those. Try to impact strategy and shifting off status quo, but then being okay if it takes 6 months, a year, 2 years for that to happen. Because I still think it's important to educate people even if they're not ready. That'll help inform strategy over time. And that's pipeline, really. But that's just an educational mindset about giving value to build pipeline rather than just trying to convert now. When I see people call me and cold call me, over 95% are just very template, self-serving, I. You just take a look at emails when people try to approach you. I wanted to, I want this, I want that. It's never about helping you, the buyer or the customer. It's always about their self-agenda. So right away, that doesn't educate me. That actually hurts them, even if I'm only forming strategy or not even considering shifting off status quo. If I see that interruptive, non-educated, non-personalized approach, it's not going to help consider shifting off status quo into the future. You're not even going to get into my mindset at all. So I still think it's about that quality over volume, but you do need to get into deals early, I would say, Amar, to your point around, is it 3% or 10%? So that when you are ready to buy, your pipeline's healthy with the right type of people or the right type of fit for whatever your solution is.
I agree. And if you look at that pyramid and where the real sweet spot is, it's that middle 60%, right? It's a 30 and 30 stack to make the 60 that effectively says that there are people that don't think they're interested, but they're open to learning more. They're open to being educated.
Right.
So it goes to your point, Jamie, that if we as salespeople focus on educating people for the long term, we can absolutely segment people's interest. Yes, we need digital tools, we need digital know-how on how to perform that, but effectively you end up with a really good list of people that are interested now and that are likely going to be interested in the future. You know, the one thing I love about Amazon is that there's these myths and these legends out there that Jeff Bezos and his executive team are actually planning 8 quarters out into the future. And we don't know if that's true, but I could see that happening. I would almost love for salespeople to adapt to that thinking. I would love for salespeople to say, if I believe that there's 60% of all potential buyers in my market that have any interest now, but they're just not ready to buy, I need to find them, I need to continuously educate them at scale, and I need to then nurture them so that they fall into my pipeline naturally, that I become the default, the natural selection. When they're ready, I'm the one that they call.
I think the challenge that will happen because of that is that you haven't created a pipeline as an organization now or 6 months, a year ago to fill the gap of the numbers ticking. You got to win business, but toward this conversation, you need to be helping people at the right time when they have the right intent. The organizational state is there. So I think how you fill that gap is you actually double down on customer success. Double down on giving your existing customer base an incredible experience. There's still a lot of retention, growth, referrals, all that good stuff from taking care of your customers. That buys you the time to then start to build pipeline in a way that actually relates to what we're talking about. Narrowing in on your ideal customer profiles, really thinking from an account-based point of view, market segmentation or vertical, whatever your go-to-market is. But the challenge will be, you have to shift how you actually build pipeline over time. But if you don't have enough of profitable business to get there, it's going to be risky because you're actually going to dry up and you won't be able to perform. So that balancing act, I think, is a big problem that sales leadership has to figure out.